Thank you so much for checking out Tea and a Butty on YouTube. For exclusive content, please consider becoming a patron. Details are in the link of this video's description, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tea and a Butty. I'm Dominic.
I'm Erica.
Today's episode is all about, it's another in our series of places we want to go.
Yes.
And,
not places we've been.
Well,
much to some people on Instagram who shall remain nameless who we don't know.
Oh yeah, I was wondering who you were talking about.
Yeah,
then.
because guys, if you guys follow us on Instagram or Twitter actually, because the pictures go on there also, you'll see that Dominic's been having some fun with the pictures that go along with these
I do bad
podcasts.
photoshops, and they're intentionally bad. I'm better than that, but I didn't want to
No,
make them
you're
look...
not.
No, I didn't want to make them look too good, because then it wouldn't look funny, and people would actually think, oh, we're actually there, what's going on, you know?
Yeah, so he photoshopped us.
So I photoshopped
We're
us
saying
badly.
we're using the word Photoshop loosely. We don't have Photoshop.
Well, we do, but I don't...
Oh, we do, actually, yeah.
I don't know how to use it.
it.
I don't know how to use it properly, because I'm an old man, everybody.
Anyway, so
I do PowerPoint stuff.
He crops us out of pictures, you know, wherever we are. And he's been making these crazy pictures with our heads in front of different
Crazy
flags
pictures with their heads. I mean, I think the most popular one was Yosemite Sam. You as Yosemite Sam.
God.
Because
and my face
I didn't have to
is
do
on top
anything
of
of
the
that. I just took a
mustache.
picture.
And my face is on top of the mustache. So it looks like I have these crazy pigtails. I look like Wendy from Wendy's. That's what it reminds me of every time I look at that.
Well, you're not Wendy from Wendy's, are you?
Anyway, there was one that the last episode that we did of this podcast, or in this series, where we talked about the Cotswolds.
The Cotswolds.
Yeah, he cropped a picture of us in Wales and just pasted us into this picture of the Cotswolds, and somebody on Instagram, I hope she doesn't listen to these podcasts. I don't think she does. I think she came from nowhere. She was
came
like,
out of the woodwork.
She was like, oh, really bad Photoshop. Haha, you know, she was like making fun, like, oh, they're not really there, all of you people who think that they're there. And it's just like, did you
we are. No, it's true.
It's like, yeah, you didn't read the caption. Like, these are places we want to go. So.
Reading the caption is funny. But anyway, that being said, I have actually been to this place that we're going to talk about
Have you?
today. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's say where it is, and then you tell me, because I don't remember you having been there.
Cornwall. Anybody know where Cornwall is? Cornwall?
Cornwall.
Cornwall, yeah.
Cornwall.
Cornwall.
You say it like Cornwall.
Cornwall. Let's go down to Cornwall. I don't know how I say it anymore. I've got a bit of a sore throat today.
I say Cornwall.
It's not Corona. It's not COVID.
Nobody calls it Corona anymore, do they?
Yeah, it's COVID now, because the coronavirus is the flu virus.
Well, yeah. It's been around anyway.
It's been around, yeah.
This is just a strain of it.
Cornwall, I've been to as a child, because we used to take like little day trips there. I've been to Polperro and Lou. Yeah, there's a place in Cornwall called Lou with an E on the
end. I don't remember you ever telling me this.
And I've been to Newquay. And yeah, it was as a kid. It was like one of these, like, you know, you just go as like for like a couple of days, and it's like a weekend trip, and it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that on the Wallace Arnold coaches.
Yeah, Newquay, you have mentioned that, but I thought that was not that far from Torquay. Newquay.
No, it's actually on the north coast of Cornwall.
Oh, okay.
And Torquay's on the south coast of Devon.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cornwall, for those who don't know, is a county in England. It's in the very southwest of England, so it's like at the very edge. It's where Land's End and everything is.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's a famous bit because it's like Land's End, you know, that's where England ends.
It's where the pirates come from.
Yes, we'll talk about the pirates. Good Lord.
And Plymouth, right? Plymouth is in Cornwall?
No, it's in Devon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought Plymouth was down in the
Now
corner.
you've got me confused.
I thought Plymouth was
Is
down
Plymouth
in the
in
very
Devon
corner.
or is it in Cornwall? I don't know. I'm American now.
I thought it was in the very, like, corner. I mean, I know that's Land's End, but I thought Plymouth was, like, right there somewhere, too.
I know where it is. It's in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that should have been your answer.
It's in Devon.
It's in Devon. Oh, okay.
Hot diggity dog, it's in Devon, yeah. So I do remember things. But yeah, Plymouth, it's in Devon, yeah. And we can talk about Plymouth in a later.
Yeah.
Because of all the pilgrims they came from. Oh, yes, Plymouth Rock and everything. I don't know, actually, if they set off from Plymouth.
Well, I think so.
On the Mayflower,
I think that's
all
why,
those years ago.
I think that's why Plymouth is called Plymouth. But anyway.
Well, maybe
Plymouth
a lot of them were
in
from Plymouth. They say, what are we going to call this place? It's like, well, we're all from Plymouth. Let's just call it Plymouth.
Maybe.
But yes. Cornwall is a county, and it's famous for pirates. And it's
Army mateys.
And of course, pirates, they're pretty much the same thing as smugglers. And smuggling was a big deal in the 18th century.
In Cornwall.
In Cornwall, yeah, because,
the
18th
century is the 1700s, by the way.
Yeah.
So many people think, like, the 1800s is the 18th century, 1900s is the 19th century.
You'd think it would make sense like that, but no. It doesn't make sense. Because, I mean, this is the 21st century and we're 2020, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
But Cornwall, yeah, it's gorgeous. It's where every British person in Victorian times went on holiday. Devon and Cornwall to the south, to the sea air.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was, it was not the temperate climate and everything. It was close to the continent.
Yeah.
Not that the rest of the south coast isn't, but, the Isles of Scilly and Penzance and everything like that, it was all Polperro. I mean, that's where we went there. It was like, it's a nice little area to, like...
If you see pictures of Cornwall, the water is super, super blue, like bluey greeny.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really clear. It doesn't even look like you would never think it was Britain. You would think it was maybe like somewhere in the Caribbean or somewhere like that,
Somewhere. Well,
maybe not necessarily in the Caribbean because of the like cliffs and stuff.
The cliffs and everything, yeah. But there's like little coves and it's just like, really like, oh wow.
It doesn't look like the rest of the shoreline of Britain that I've seen anyway.
You've seen the dark and dingy parts, haven't you? Yes. It's like, well, because down there, the sea is mostly unspoiled. I hate to say this. If you go, the further north you go in around like the North Sea and everything like that, it's mostly spoiled by offshore oil drilling and everything like that, and gas and whatever, that the sea's just murky and there's a lot of crap up there.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I mean, it's not unsafe to go in, as far as we know. But, it just looks dark and dingy and green and, just like, bleh, It
may just have something to do with...
Like the Gulf Coast, for instance.
Yeah, but that's not technically why it looks like that. It has something to do with the Gulf Stream and the way it kicks up the... like the
moisture.
The
silt.
Soil, the silt or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, we're not marine biologists by any, or.
I am. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, you just forgot to show me that, didn't you? But you just forgot to show me that.
I forgot to show you my marine biology-ness.
But yeah, I mean, when I lived up in Scotland, when we go, to the beach, it would be dark and dingy. The sea would be like grey. It was you couldn't really see it. But in Cornwall, it's a blue azure. It's like how you think sea should be.
Yeah. Like Greece. Maybe you would think it was
Greece.
like
Greece. Don't get me on to Greece because I'll talk about... And we're not talking about the film here with John Travolta. We're talking about the country. It's just, don't get me on to Greece because Greece was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
The islands and everything going around there.
We'll probably talk about I think in this
Blue
Where Places
Sea,
We
yeah.
Want to Go series, we'll talk about places
We're just-
outside of the UK.
Yeah,
also.
we'll talk about outside.
But right
the
now
UK.
we'll focus on the UK.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
Yes.
that's just what we're gonna do.
That's what we're gonna do. Yes.
Anyway, moving away from Greece and back to Cornwall.
Back to Cornwall. Some of the more well-known places you might have heard of are Bodmin. Do you remember? Do you know? Did you know of Bodmin before?
No. I don't think so.
Oh, you didn't.
Anyway.
So that was just like a British thing, I guess. Then?
I only know about it because of shows that we've watched.
Oh,
yeah.
shows set in Cornwall, like Doc Martin.
I don't think. Well, yeah, and then you told me that there's a thing that they say or that they said. I don't know if it's old fashioned. Like
it's kind of
he's gone Bodmin. Like mean like he's gone crazy. Or
It's old fashioned now because years from like the 1800s to about in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
There was a mental hospital, St. Lawrence's Mental Hospital, and it was on Bodmin, and that housed like poor people who'd gone insane, and it was like an institution.
Yeah.
And so for a long people were like, oh, the people from Bodmin are a bit strange. And it was like, oh, he's gone Bodmin, he has.
That's probably like not politically correct to say that anymore.
Well, it's not because St. Lawrence's Hospital is not there anymore. It's now houses.
Yeah.
It's not a mental hospital anymore. And because it wasn't really a mental hospital since the 1980s because of care in the community and everything.
What is that?
It was a program basically getting rid of the institutions.
Oh, right.
And saying, we'll just, care in the community for the mentally ill and everything like that.
Let them live like a normal life and take care of them,
Because there was people going in there who were like autistic and stuff, and, they weren't like talking to themselves and smashing their heads against walls and whatever, there was like, it was like they were just sticking them in this, and it was terrible because it was like a prison.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hospital, it was a prison.
Yeah.
And there was like crazy doctors there who were just studying them, who just wanted to like study them and go, oh yes, my work is so important and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you're just basically making fun of a mental person.
Well, I don't know if they're making fun of them, but they're treating them like
they
subjects rather than people.
But I'm talking about back in like the 1800s and stuff, They weren't, there was a lot of doctors who were just, taking advantage,
Yeah.
And there's the Beast of Badminton Moor. You should have heard of that legend.
No.
What?
No,
The Beast of Badminton Moor, man.
I still don't even know if I know what that is. Is that from Sherlock Holmes?
Oh, you're thinking of the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Oh.
No, it's similar type of thing. Because they went to Dartmoor, which is in Devon, and on Dartmoor's moor, there was like this hound. This great, gigantic hound.
Yeah.
And, it's similar to the Beast of Badminton. It's kind of like similar to like Loch Ness. Is it a thing?
Yeah.
People have claimed to have seen it, but again, it's like the connotations of like there being a mental hospital up there.
Yeah.
And also a big beast.
Yeah.
It's like someone heard tale of it,
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, there's a beast up there. And it was just to keep people away, I think.
Yeah. And explain really quickly what a moor is for
it's just kind of like a
have never heard the
kind
term.
of like a plain. It's like a big like grassy area.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be like stony and stuff like that, but it goes on for miles.
Because I remember when I first started watching like British shows and they were talking about the moors all the time.
Oh, you don't want to go up the moors on a Saturday night.
Yeah, and it was just like, what in the world are the moors? What are they talking about?
He's up on the moor, he is.
Yeah.
Lost up on the moor. Can't find him. Yeah, it's mad. It's like, I don't know what you would call it over here. Like a plain, I guess?
Yeah.
Like an area, like a deserty kind of area.
Plains are like flat. It's like a flat.
It's kind of
land.
flat, but sometimes there's like, there's hills and stuff on a moor.
You were going to say hillock.
Hillock. There's little hillocks.
Another word we don't use.
It's a hillock.
I think a hillock is the most ridiculous sounding word. I don't even know.
It's cute, isn't it?
Oh my god.
Everybody who agrees with me say yes, it's cute.
But it's like moors are what we would call prairies, maybe?
That's more what it is, yeah.
Because prairies can have hills or...
Yeah, I mean, moors and stuff, yeah, it's... I mean...
Moors, when...
Bodmin
the
Moor.
way they would mention them, oh, he's gonna lost in the moors. It made me feel like...
There's marshland
like
there.
swampy. Like
it's an area that they couldn't develop, let's just say.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to stay as it is.
So, like... what we around here would call green belts.
Kind of like a green
particularly
belt. Yes.
around Austin.
It's lost up in that green belt, yes. The moor, yeah. So, yeah, there's that. Also on Bodmin Moor, there's a famous inn that was built in 1750.
Which is?
And has ties to the smugglers.
Oh.
It's called the Jamaica Inn.
No.
Daphne du Maurier.
No.
Never heard of the novel?
No.
What about the Hitchcock film, 1939?
Called what?
Jamaica Inn.
No.
I mean, it's quite famous for, like, the plot was, like, centered around the Jamaica Inn, which still exists today. Because it was, like, a staging post for, like, horses, where you could change horses, and so a lot of smugglers would come there.
Okay, yeah.
And they'd, like, have, like, you know, meet with other smugglers and discuss their
smugglers, aka
their smuggly
pirates.
goodness. Or pirates, smugglers, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were called smugglers back then because they were smuggling stuff in.
Yeah.
And, you know, they weren't actually on the high seas,
Yeah,
you know, just taking over ships and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's become famous, and Daphne du Maurier stayed there in 1930 and was just inspired by the surroundings and the stories of the smugglers and that used to come there in, like, you know, the 1700s and 1800s and stuff, you know, and hold their meetings and hide their gin and brandy, that, you know, and from the excise men and everything. And she just created this story, and based it there, and Hitchcock then
turned it into a film in
1939.
No, I've never heard of it.
I think I've seen it. Many years ago it came on.
Let us know if you guys
if you've seen it. Yeah, 1939, so yeah. Or read the book even, because the book was pretty big too.
Yeah. I mean, I say yeah, I don't know. It was big, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that book, yeah. That was a big book. Green it was, yeah.
Oh my god.
But yes, it's on Bodmin Moor where all the crazy people went to. So yeah, there's that, and another place in Cornwall, because there's more than one.
No. I think people don't know what Cornwall is. You know, it's
a county.
It feels like,
but unless you're talking to a Cornishman who'd say no, it's its own country. We're separate from the UK. You know.
Yeah.
There's people, and we've got our own flag and everything.
Oh,
you know?
We've got our own language and
and I mean that's derived from Welsh, I think. The Cornish.
But to an American, I think if you heard Cornwall, because you don't really mention any other counties in England, do you? I mean,
what do you mean? I
mean, we've heard of Cornwall, but there's loads of other counties.
Oh yeah, there's loads of other counties in England.
So what I'm saying is I think, and I could be totally wrong, but I think that if Americans didn't know that Cornwall was a county, but had heard of it, they might think it was a city, like a place. You know what I mean? Like a town unto itself. Like
Cornwall, that's where all the pirates are.
Instead of a general area. Yeah,
Or, if you were talking to someone else, they might just think, it's a wall of corn. It's the corn wall.
Yes.
And there's a big wall of corn, and people go to worship this wall of corn.
Yes. These are the kind of jokes you can expect from someone who creates the pictures that go along with these podcasts.
It's a big wall of corn that we worship every day, and we can't eat the corn.
Anyway, moving on.
Back to Cornwall.
Yes.
Not the wall of corn.
Jeez.
Tintagel. Tintagel.
Yeah, I've heard of it from Paul Dark. I don't
know.
No,
you haven't, because you're a big King Arthur head, aren't you?
Oh, that's where I've
Merlin.
heard of it from.
You're like, oh, Merlin and King Arthur and the Sword and the Stone and Tristan and Isolde.
Yes.
All of that.
Tristan and Isolde had something to do with Tintagel?
Yeah. They were King Arthur, and they were that legend.
They were part of King Arthur legend?
Yeah, they were that's all the same sort of thing, you know? It's all around the same sort of...
Are you making this up?
No! I am not making it up, but someone might have been, because it's a legend. It's closely associated with Tintagel and the castle as well, you know, like, it's like old magic and stuff. Because the castle is built half on the mainland and half on a jagged headland projecting into the Cornish Sea. And it's a very historic site. And,
because it's debated, isn't it, as to whether he was a real person or not.
Well, yes. I mean, they're saying Merlin was like a wizard, and you know, he gave King Arthur his power.
I don't really know, actually.
The sword in the stone.
I've never read the Canterbury Tales.
The sword in the stone is that, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like, oh, if you can take that sword out of the stone, you're a king.
Yeah, something like that. And he
did it.
Yeah.
And now people are doing it. Like
if you're able to do that. It's sort of like Thor's hammer, you know?
You've got the knife stuck in,
yeah. You have to be worthy
You have to be worthy to get the, yeah. And you were cutting butter up or something the other night, weren't you?
What?
No, it wasn't. It was sourdough bread that was frozen. And she got
How did we go from King Arthur and the sword in the stone to cutting sourdough bread? I'm so lost.
We got a loaf of sourdough bread out of the freezer, okay?
And it was rock hard, like,
and it was rock hard, and she was cutting it up, and she got the knife stuck in it, and she was trying to pull the knife out like that, and I said, "This is the sword in the stone, right here.
Get out! I've had all of your cheesy jokes that I can take for one half hour,
and you remember it too. That's why you're laughing."
What is in your tea, honestly?
It's not tea, it's coffee. It's creme brulee coffee, actually, so it's very good. Some of the brandy that was smuggled by the smugglers is in my
Your
coffee.
Allergies are doing a number on you today.
Anyway.
Tintagel.
Yes, Tintagel. So that was that. The next one, Penzance.
Yeah. There's a whole, like, musical or opera or something.
Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance.
Okay, never seen
it. It's now basically, you know, it's basically given... Tourist trap now. But years ago, back in, like, when that was written, because it was a comic opera, you know, it was one of those comedy things, The Pirates of Penzance. Mm-hmm. At the time it was written in 1879... Penzance had become popular as like a peaceful resort town, you know, it was kind of like the same, there's the Victorians with Torquay and stuff, they were going there and they were just having a lovely holiday by the sea.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was peaceful and everything, there was no pirates, you know, all that kind of stuff. I don't think there was really any pirates in Penzance, even when pirates...
Oh, there were pirates all over Cornwall, surely.
Smugglers or whatever, yeah. So the idea of it being overrun by pirates was amusing to contemporaries and people. It's like, oh yeah, you know, it's overrun by pirates. But now that's where everybody just goes, oh, Penzance, that's where all the pirates came from.
The Pirates of Penzance.
Yeah, the Pirates of Penzance. And they don't say... It just
sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's in Cornwall, so it's Uar. That's...
Yeah.
And it was Treasure Island. What was the actor's name who played...
oh, yeah, that popularized...
Yeah.
That pirates have that accent.
Yeah, he just played it like it with his own accent.
Because pirates were from everywhere, weren't they?
Pirates were from everywhere. They weren't just from Cornwall. I mean, there was pirates. There could have been a pirate from Liverpool. You know, there was a pirate from Ireland. You know,
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like popularized pirates as having this Keith Richards type voice now.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to go the ooh-ar, Captain route, you know, that, what was his name? Someone out there will tell me the actor's name who basically played Blackbeard, wasn't it? He played Blackbeard.
Yeah. He played Blackbeard, but he was a different pirate in, Long John Silver.
Long John Silver. How could I forget that? Long John Silver, that's it.
Yeah.
And he played Long John Silver.
We just saw that for our first time recently on Disney Plus, you guys. If you guys don't have Disney Plus, you should definitely. # not sponsored, by the way. We
yes,
wish,
Disney is not sponsoring this. You may have guessed.
But if you guys don't have it, it's definitely worth getting for at least a month. You can knock out quite a bit of it.
You can go through. I mean, it has pretty much everything on there. But yeah. But it's quite funny that, you know, Penzance has become this like pirate thing, because I know there's loads of people there who do like pirate reenactments, and, you know, the actors and stuff, and they have like ships that they've mocked up and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They do like little acting bits, comedy bits for everyone.
There's a ship in Boston Harbor that is like pirate style ship. I can't remember. I think it's
actually a U.S. Navy ship, isn't it? I think it's the Constitution.
It's old, and it had been taken over by several different things over the years. So
it was sold and resold to other people, because navies did that.
They captured it, and then it was their ship for however many years, and, you know, it was several different things. But it was closed when we were there and we went to tour it. It was so cool. But I think they have things like that around Britain too, don't they?
Yeah. They
probably in Penzance.
The famous one is the Victory in is that in Portsmouth? I don't know. But anyway, they have stuff.
There's probably one
in Penzance
somewhere, yeah.
Penzance was also the birthplace of Sir Humphrey Davy. He was president of the Royal Society.
Okay.
He invented electrolysis.
Oh, interesting.
And he was the first person to isolate sodium, so he gave us salt.
Okay, cool.
And he was the first to discover nitrous oxide, which you loved at the dentist.
Which I loved. Oh my
Laughing
God.
gas.
Yes. Yeah.
We're laughing at the dentist. And with Michael Faraday, you surely have heard of Michael Faraday.
I think so.
Maybe it's just me, because he was on he was on British money for a long time, Michael Faraday. I think he was on the £10 note.
I think I've probably heard of these people because of you, and for no other reason.
He was a joint discoverer with Michael Faraday that diamonds are made of pure carbon and are not a girl's best friend.
But are forever.
Yes, are forever. And he's probably best known today, Sir Humphrey Davy, as the inventor of the miner's safety lamp, or the Davy lamp.
Okay, that's interesting. All of this information, by the way, if you guys want to
It's Wikipedia.
Yeah, if you guys want to look up more information about any of these places or people, etc.
Yeah,
it all came from Wikipedia, because
mostly
are the
there was a couple of
we are.
UK Historic as well. I did use a couple more sources.
Okay.
UK Historic and English Heritage. Port Isaac is the next place. You remember that
Anybody
place.
who watches PBS should know where Port Isaac is.
Yeah.
It's actually called...
No, it's called Port Isaac. That's what it's actually called. Port Wen, it's called in Dock Martin.
In the show, it's got a different name.
And they film all around there.
Yeah.
If you're Dock Martin fans, you'll know what it looks like. It looks like this tiny little fishing village that Dock Martin is. And, you know, it's been the backdrop for many things. I don't think Paul Dark filmed there, because it's so obviously something to do with Dock Martin, you know? And you can't really make it look any different than that.
Yeah.
Saving Grace was the film that Doc Martin
was based on. Yeah.
So it was a character in the Craig Ferguson film Saving Grace, and that was filmed in Port Isaac too. And it's just this tiny little fishing village that is, and the blue water and the harbour and everything.
Yeah, what's his name? His name is Martin in the show.
Yeah. Martin Clunes.
Martin Clunes. Oh.
Martin
yeah,
Clunes.
that's right. Yeah.
Is Doc Martin. Yeah, I mean, and there's been other things that have been... I think maybe the 1970s series of Paul Dark was filmed there.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not sure. You know, a lot of that kind of stuff happens. And the shanty a cappella group Fisherman's Friends.
It's really cute. It's a tiny little village.
From Port Isaac, yeah.
It's very picturesque.
But yeah, so those are some of the major places in Cornwall.
Yeah,
of course, it's like tiny towns and everything.
There's somewhere that
Truro actually is the only city in Cornwall.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There's somewhere, some of the travel vloggers that we've watched have gone to, like, you can camp on the top of some of these cliffs somewhere in Cornwall.
I think that's Land's End, wasn't it?
And they have...
Maybe?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe. But, and I'm sure we've seen more than one travel vlogger go to this place. And it is so windy. It's just like...
Well, I mean, by the cliffs and everything, it's going to be windy across the coast.
They're like, oh, this is so idyllic. It's so beautiful, everything. And then it's just like pouring down rain. The wind is like flying the tents back and everything. It's just like, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
it does look really
it's treacherous around there because it's like a headland. And, it's kind of like, like the tip of South America,
Yeah.
It's just very treacherous for ships to get around that,
Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, we could go on. But
we won't.
We're out of time. Oh, Cornish Pasties come from Cornwall.
Have you had a Cornish pasty? If not, then you need to go to Cornwall to have an authentic one.
Yeah.
Because they
will fight you if you have one anywhere else.
They will, and you're actually, apparently they put a patent on it where if you make one, it's not an actual Cornish pasty because it's got to be made in Cornwall.
It can't have...
The crimping.
The crimping, or I think they like twist the edges or something like that. Something,
yeah.
There's something that they do.
There's something that they do
only in
Cornwall, and it can be an authentic Cornish pasty.
But,
so if you're in Devon and you decide, I'm going to open up a Cornish pasty shop since I'm right next door to Cornwall, you can't do it. You can't call it an actual Cornish pasty without getting slapped with a cease and desist.
Can you? I thought you could call it that, but... I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, they do. You can say, it's my Cornish pasty. And it's like, that's not an authentic one. You got to get yourself to Delabole for the authentic one, boy.
Now, when we are finally able to go back to Britain and we go down to Cornwall, we'll have to make, like, a video of me trying a Cornish pasty because I really, just based on what I've seen on the internet, am not buying into, I'm not buying into the fabulousness of the Cornish pasty. It looks
meat,
okay.
Potatoes, and carrots and onions.
It basically looks like a pot pie inside of like a thick pastry that you can hold in your hands.
I think they're okay.
Yeah. I mean, people go absolutely nuts.
I can tell
Cornish
you though,
pasty
if we've been out rambling on the moors,
and it's cold,
it's windy, on the moors.
Yes.
Going bodmin.
We've been lost in the moors.
We've been lost in the moors.
Yeah.
Out there and you're all alone. And we decide...
You think you'll never see civilization again.
And you come across it and you're hungry and, you come across a Cornish pasty shop. And
it'll be delicious compared to eating your own arm. Yes.
This is the stuff. This is what I'm talking about right here. Because, I mean, they do an original one, and now they do, like, chicken tikka Cornish pasties and, all kinds of fillings.
Just vegetables.
Vegetables. Yeah, vegetarian ones. Yeah, I mean, they've updated them.
Maybe if they could, like, toss some shrimp in there. I mean, you're right on the coast.
There's probably fish ones and shrimp ones and crab ones.
Fish ones.
It's probably crab pasties.
Are there not any shrimp in the oceans around Britain? Why is shrimp not a bigger thing?
Because little shrimp...
You're an island, for God's
Because we don't call them shrimp, we call them prawns.
Okay, we gotta go.
Yeah, we've got to go.
Hope you guys
Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your support, as always, and we will talk to you on Thursday.
Thursday time. Yay.
Bye.
Bye.